name is Victor, and this is my good friend Domo. Welcome to our low elo talk. You know what I'm saying?
Low elo talk.
uh, so currently I am just an Emerald player in League of Legends. So take that with a bit, take whatever I say with a grain of salt. You know, I don't. I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about, but obviously there might be things that I'm missing. So
Well, uh, name of the series is called Order Meet, as we talk about things that happen in esports. I mostly focus on the League of Legends aspects of things because that's all I really know. I've been watching competitive for 4 or 5 years now. I play League mostly casually. I don't really care for ranked because half the people there are toxic and are trying to hit you anyway.
that is true.
Like,
That is a little too true if you ask me. But hey,
the
it's
only
just League of
time
Legends.
I will play ranked is if it's flex and if I have 5 people. So then I know that my friends are idiots and I can get mad at them.
Yep.
And then end of the day, we're like, okay, we just lost and it is what it is. But yeah,
I've played a few in-house scrims with like Diamond Master players. I've played in 10 mans, but I don't really grind out the game, so I don't. I guess you could say that I don't really know how high level competitive play actually is. I guess the most you could say is I've played in T3 in League of Legends, but that's about it.
all in all, we're just amateurs with our own thoughts and opinions of the game. You can agree with us, you can disagree with us. I don't really care about your opinions, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Everyone has their own opinion on how the game should be played. Even if you look at like different casters and analysts, they're like, "Oh, this team should have won. They have better draft, but they just got outhand and stuff like that." Yeah. Well, today we're gonna mostly be talking about LCK Cup, mostly the series that just happened this week, which was DK versus Nongshim, and then there was HLE versus Genji. One of those series was more interesting than the other. One had the Noodle Boys, and one had two of like the best AD carries right now, in my opinion.
I agree.
Now, like,
One, actually, two of them. Well, the one series has two star-studded teams. The other one, not so much.
there's a
No offense.
there's
No
a
offense,
there's a
but
team.
let's be real here.
The other one had a team with a world champions, and the other one had a team with a world champion and the Noodle Boys.
All right, so let's be real here. We're obviously talking about Genji versus ACLE. That was probably the highlight game.
It was the highlight game.
But the problem was the series itself. There was a lot of back and forth when they really shouldn't be. Like from what I saw, there's some calls that were a little iffy. Even like if you were to go into the game and turn off vision for both sides, like if you were to just turn vision on only for blue side or only for red side, there were some things that didn't really make sense. For example, I mean, this is classic. This is dude. Oh my god, just thinking about it is getting me tilted.
Okay, well,
Classic.
before we get into
Oh,
that, we do have to wait for our third member to join before we
all right,
talk about that too much. So,
but
what I want to like start this off with. So LCK Cup, if y'all don't know LCK Cup format, it was basically all team. It was like team based. There was two teams, Group Baron and Group Elder. Elder had it was Genji, Donwan, KT, Nongshim, and what was the last one on that one? Remember the last one on? Remember the team setups?
um, let's see. The
Right now.
teams were Group Baron was T1,
Okay.
Hanwha Life, uh, Brion, DN Freaks, and BNK. Group Elder was D plus Kia, Gen G, KT Roaster, DRX, and Nongshim.
Ah, DRX. That's the team. Oh, I
Yep, yep.
wonder why. Just by hearing those names, you can easily tell one group had way better chances than the other. Like group group Elder was just that that group was
Yeah,
nuts.
it is kind of stacked. I mean, to be fair, Group Baron does have T1,
They
but
did have
like
T1, and
T1 and a Hanwha Life are probably the only major teams in that group. The other groups,
I hey
while strong,
I
they.
believed in DN Freaks for a little bit. Like they
Ooh,
had
I don't know about
Berserker.
that one,
I
Chief.
was like,
I don't know about that one.
I
I think they're
believed in
still
them for a
really.
little bit, and still they disappointed me. So they
Oof.
lost. I'm like, yeah. But honestly, in my opinion on that is, Team One was the best performing team on Group Baron. You can even like see it stat wise, they were, and they so because LCK Cup format, it was them versus HLE, and that was an elimination series. It was like a really good best of five, in my opinion. I enjoyed most of the games. Uh, T1 did a little too much cooking in the kitchen. I will say that. And
Classic.
and now they're out of LCK Cup. So what I want to ask is like, do you think since T1's now out basically, so that means no T1 means no Faker. You think that's gonna affect LCK Cup viewer like not LCK Cup? Well, LCK Cup,
Just
yeah, sure.
viewership in general of LCK Cup or just LCK or whatever event they're in.
No,
I mean,
the first stand,
I
first stand event. I
first
think,
stand event.
yeah,
I mean, to be honest, a lot of people are supportive of T1, right?
yep.
And that's usually chances are most League of Legends players only support T1 as their team. So I
Very true.
do think that viewership will take a hit, but I don't think it should be too big. Because at the end of the day, it's still an esports competition, right? There's still going to be a lot of people watching it, or rather, a lot of League of Legends players watching it, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So based on like stats, T1 versus Hanwha Life had double the amount of viewerships that Hanwha Life versus Gen G had, and that was just for
That
like
is fair,
a
yeah.
domestic game. I do feel like Korean fans will like come out still to support whoever goes to first stand, and because it's an event in Korea.
Hmm.
But I don't think viewership is gonna be like nearly as much as people would like want or like Riot would want it to be for like a first time, new tournament.
I mean, to be fair, you have the most recognized player of all time and the first Hall of Fame inductee on one team. And if that team doesn't get through, then it's like what it's like Messi fans, for example, right? We Messi is a really good player, probably one of the greatest of all time, probably the greatest of all time. You ask me. Whenever he gets eliminated from like a cup, for example, I would think the viewership cuts in half too. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though.
I think it goes down, but not by like as much because league. So like sad to say, league is like league esports is so reliant on Faker still right now, and I think that's
He
mostly
is the
because of
face of
just
the franchise, the face of the
how
game.
Riot has like pushed Faker and T1 to like the front of a lot of things. Also, it's just because he keeps winning. Like, what are you supposed to do? People are trying to bring up Chovy and Knight, but Faker just comes in and is like, nah, bro, I'm gonna still win. Like, how do you compete with that?
Honestly, you really can't. T1 is just a really solid team. They have okay. Let me rephrase that. In order to beat them, just play them domestically. Like no, like T1 is such a good team internationally, but for some reason, when it comes to LCK, they just seem
The world's
to
buff is not there.
they seem
That's
to
it.
struggle against their peers in LCK at times.
In my head, like part of it is like they face T1 the most, and they're like so used to the T1 style because T1 had a specific playstyle that they used for like so long until they used left, so then they had to like kind of reinvent themselves. But feel like teams just went against it so much that they kind of like knew what they were like going into and knew how to counter it better than like most international teams that like barely ever faced T1.
I think it's more like T1 uses their regular season to experiment a lot, with at least the first half of their season, right? Their first half of their season, they always
Zero support.
yeah yeah. Carry is guilty of this, but I
And
also think that
he played
they
LeBlanc
do.
support in LCK Cup, and they lost that game. Why would you play LeBlanc support?
I think it.
Uh,
I don't know. I can't. I
I
can't really defend
digress.
it. I can't really defend that.
Like, yo, they be cooking, and sometimes they burn the kitchen, but end of the day, it's still Team One. Sometimes I feel like their drafts are like, we're just gonna outhand diff our opponents, and then meanwhile Genji will play like a front to back composition. It's like, what do we do here?
That's also another gripe I have with LCK. Their draft style is fundamentally flawed, I would say. They
Else,
pick a lot of champions that would love to have some sort of enchanter support, like shields, heals, some type of disengage, but for some reason they always just pick engage and playmaking supports. I get that playmaking supports are good for viewership, but the problem is
you don't
if you're trying to
you want those
win
fun,
within.
flashy plays, bro? That
No, I
four-man
want to see a
knockup from
solid
Alistar,
gameplay. Like
the five, the five-man rel engage, like, bro, those things are exciting.
they are exciting. Don't get me wrong. It's just the fact that sometimes I would rather see solid League of Legends than see a hero play. I would say, you know what I'm saying?
I kind of I kind of get you.
But that's just because I feel like I'm more used to seeing like international. Like I tune in for Worlds. I tune in for all the games in Worlds, right?
Yeah.
And watching them play seriously is like a whole different beast than watching like regular season. Because regular season people are kind of trying to get back into form,
Yeah.
so they're just playing like comfort picks instead of like meta picks, I would say. But I digress. I digress.
I watch a lot of regular season now, like way more. I watch almost all four. I try to watch all four regions, like as live if I can. The hardest one right now for me is LPL because they don't have like English broadcast anymore, so it's really hard to watch that. So I have to like catch like VODs or like Dom or Adriel's streams from it. But yeah. All right. So the first game that took place Saturday was Nongshim versus DK. That game should have been a 3-0.
Hmm.
It was a 3-1. That game could have easily been a 3-0. I don't know what happened game 3, but Nongshim was able to take a game. Funny enough, technically, Nongshim is a top 4 team in the LCK right now.
Yikes.
I'm a be honest, I don't have much to say about that series. Like it was it was clearly it like if you predicted Don Juan to win, you were right. Like there ain't no way Nongchin was gonna be Don Juan. Like as even like in the form they are right now, there's no way. Like I don't see it happening, and it didn't happen. It took a game. They drafted 3 global ultimates and kind of just made the map really dizzy. But then after that, what they had? Nothing much really.
Yeah.
I will say, pretty good AD carry, and Kingen was legit just trying his best to like carry the game, but there's really much I can say about that series. Honestly, I could try to, like nothing that comes to mind. They were literally just getting styled on, in my opinion.
I will say, Dongwon Kia, their team is more cohesive in
Yeah.
the fact that Lehens is still adjusting to his new team, right? Like Lehens, when he shot calls, it's I don't know how to explain it. Lehens shot calling is good. It's just the fact that I don't think he's completely aware what his players can do, type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
He still thinks he has Chovy, Pays, Canyon. When no offense, these players are not them. He has Kingen.
Kingen is equivalent, I would say. Maybe slightly worse, but
It's like when people were saying Kingen was like a top laner in LCK. I'm like, he's not, in my opinion. Like
Kingen is pretty
he has his
solid.
moments. He has his moments,
Kingen's pretty solid.
and in the right meta, he could do really well. But
Maybe Bruiser meta. Oh
but
man.
like he's but okay, in my opinion. Other than that, I feel like Barrel has been like the best thing that happened to DK. Like aside from, like Siwoo's good mechanically, but there are some games where he's invisible. But I can 100% like 100% say like with 100% certainty that Barrel's like the reason most of their like is their like main shot caller, and everyone kind of I feel like people just follow him blindly sometimes.
So the thing is, Showmaker is a really good playmaker. It's just the fact that he needs his support to assist him at times, right? And by times, I mean he needs Barrel to come up, roam, come mid like twice, and Showmaker shoves wave in, and he just takes over the map. Shoves wave in, goes roam, takes over the map. That's literally how DK wins.
Game in game 2 he played Pantheon mid. He ulted topside, killed helped kill, I forgot who was there. Maybe it was Kingen. But
It was Kingen.
immediately after that he went back to base, then TP bot side and immediately made another play.
Like I'm telling you, quite
Like
literally,
he
he is
was
the playmaker.
like Nongshim I felt like was like did he like he just topside? How is he here already? Go make a playmaker.
Honestly, there the reason the reason why it was a 3-1 is because like Dawn one. Actually, just their draft was actually horrendous.
I
Like
told you
that their
they were
team.
happy gaming. They were probably they're trying to happy game. They're like
I don't think it was happy gaming. It was more like they were trying new picks, but the problem was their team had no identity whatsoever.
oh yeah,
Like
no, I looked that
you're picking Ziggs Zillion with Aatrox, like Camille, and Wukong. Like, well,
I don't know. I looked at that. I could not wrap my head around that draft either. And like I said, Nongshim drafted 4 global ultimates and kind of just made them dizzy. But yeah, no. I don't know how you win with that type of draft, honestly.
you you would have to split push. That's the problem. Like you would have to have like a 2-2-1 type situation
Yeah.
where you would have Showmaker and probably Barrel on the side, in the side lane, Siwoo and Lucid on another side lane, and then aiming probably solo clearing a wave by himself with Ziggs. But the problem is they're playing against a Sivir, which like it's hard to clear to like counter clear against Sivir, right?
She just clear.
Sivir
She farms and she
Sivir
eventually
herself,
becomes useful.
how do I explain this? Sivir as a champion provides a lot more utility than Ziggs, right? She can speed up basically everything once she presses ulti. So she just pushes the wave in. You try to counter clear it with from range. She can actually just ulti and run at Ziggs. And the problem is that Nongshim had basically 3 tanks that can just turret dive so easily, and Sivir just activated their abilities even more, like just a
Yep.
turret dive. So aiming wasn't really able to wave clear it properly.
Like I said, also that game they had Nocturne Galio Shen on Nongshim. Uh, anyone caught out in the side lane is just gonna get jumped on by like 3 people at the very most. And it,
Honestly, that game Galio was unkillable. Like I don't see how anyone kills Galio on Genji, not Genji on Dom one side.
um, who did Galio die in that game? Okay, yeah, no,
Yeah,
he died once. He died once.
I think I got cowed out one time.
Fisher G. Yeah, it was a 28-3. But then like the rest of the games, game 1 was 17-6. Why would you leave Skarner open? Like in the HLE for Gen G series, Skarner is permabanned. There is a reason that this champion is permabanned, like in almost every region. It is like one of the most annoying champs to deal with, and
It's very oppressive.
he doesn't die. Like you would have to click so many buttons just to get his HP below half. I know I played this champ because it's Skarner.
I mean, to be fair, they did leave Poppy open too, but they didn't pick it.
Yeah. So quick draft rundowns. Game 1 was Ambessa, Skarner, Ari, Ezreal, Poppy for DK versus Nongshim, Rumble,
Okay, let me see
Maokai,
the draft order again.
Corki, Callista, Nautilus. Callista's also like pretty high prio, but against that team comp, you're doing nothing. Map 2, game 2 was Gangplank, Sejuani, Yone, Kaisa, Alistar for Nongshim. Nongshim was blue side this game. With DK Red side picking Jax, Lilia, Pantheon, and Zyra Khan.
I gotta see draft order so I can actually give my thoughts on how they drafted. Let me type in game one. One.
I don't remember the draft order. Draft itself. Ups. I said game 3 was Nongshim still on blue side. Kennen, Nocturne, Galio, Siversen versus Aatrox, Kong, Zillion, Diggs, and Camille. Then they rounded out game 4 with Nar, Viego, LeBlanc, Varus, and why are names right now?
So I can't really see the full draft, but what I'm seeing from like they first pick Skarner, and then they counter and R1 R2 was Callista and Rumble. I don't really think that it's a good idea to pick top lane this early because top lane is usually like matchup depend like heavily matchup dependent. And unless they lane swap, it is never a good idea to first pick your top laner because it's so easy to counter pick and play around it, right?
I think the Rumble could also be more of a denial pick for later in the series, but Ian's also like a pretty decent Rumble, I would say. So Rumble is also like
I think
one
King
one.
is notorious on Rumble for inting.
Rumble's also like pretty decently high prio for like a lot of top laners. Okay, so
I think Rumble is a high prio counter pick. I don't think he's a good blind.
What's your top
And
line?
also
What's your top?
they let.
What's your top
Wait, I'm
lines?
sorry. My top lines
Yeah, for top lanes.
is like Jace, Yone, stuff that can be flexed, right?
Yeah.
Um, Another one could be Mbessa is actually really high prio too. Mbessa is really strong. Um,
You
Believe it or
lean.
not, Gangplank's actually really strong too. It's just Gangplank requires a lot of setup.
I feel like Ambessa nowadays more, or it's like a little bit of setup at least. You know, like the amount of people I see just whipping public is like, and
It's very telegraphed, I would say, Heraldry. But
straight line.
Mbessa herself only really needs to farm. She doesn't really need to get too many kills in order to take over a game. As long as she gets resources allocated, she can definitely 1v2, 1v3, right?
Yeah. More, I can see 1v2 if she's kind of like if you have CC, 1v3ing is hard.
Also, the problem is at this point, so going back to draft, it was B1 Skarner, R1, R2 Callista Rumble
Yep.
into B2, B3, Mbessa, Ari.
Yep.
And then back to R3, they picked Maokai and they picked Maokai. They picked their jungle over a support.
Yes.
At this point, instead of picking Maokai, you should definitely pick Poppy here. Because they already
Yeah.
you already see 3 dashes,
You see 3 dashes, yeah.
and Poppy is so good at just denying Ari from going in, denying Mbessa from going in. Skarner is a little harder to deny, but at that point, you just ult him away, right?
Yeah.
Like, Poppy is such a good pick for Nongshim, but I don't know why Lehens didn't want to call it. They they picked Maokai and then they banned out Varus, Kaisa. Okay, so they're just limiting the 80 carry pool for aiming, but I don't really understand
Their
this
drafts
draft mentality.
their drafts were interesting to say the least.
And then Lehens counterpicked himself. They picked Poppy and he picked
Pick Nautilus into
he
Poppy,
picked
yes.
Nautilus. Yes, like what, dude? That's a gripe I have with LCK. They don't ever want to pick enchanters.
I mean, what did Chanter go with Kalista? I mean,
Lulu, Janna,
I don't know. In my
or
head,
like
it's like
Karma. For example,
if you're
Karma
playing
is actually
Kalista,
good.
you want like an engage so you can like just throw them into the enemy team. That's just me.
I mean, yeah, it is good to play. Like, I think that engage is really important for Kalista as well. But the problem is, at this point, you're already getting outdrafted. You need something to at least deny engage on Dawn one's side, right?
Yeah.
Because they have Skarner, Ambessa, Ari, and Poppy at this point. Four
Wait, are you guys
champions that
recording?
dive in and try to get a pick. Hey, what's up? Oh, hi.
Wait,
And we're back, and we are joined by our friend Jimmy, who is the depressed Pikachu, because I do not know how to add his actual video here. So for now, he is a depressed Pikachu.
hi, hello. I don't know where you guys stopped the discussion.
Introduce yourself first,
Um, so I was talking about.
or not.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, I should
Yeah, you
introduce
should probably
myself. It's
introduce
getting
yourself
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
okay. So okay. So I am a former league player. I am 3 years retired, and I've never been happier. But my qualification is
W.
I've been watching LCS or now LCA for since like 2012, 2013. And the only good thing is there was an old show called Greatest League Talk Show, and I used to watch that. So that's where all my knowledge comes from.
W. Yeah, that's Jimmy. Mostly on for like league stuff. You're gonna see the three of us. Well, the two of us and this depressed Pikachu over here. But
Yeah.
yeah. So we were talking about draft currently for Nongshin
Oh, do you
versus
have
DK.
you want to just pull it up? Just pull up the draft. No, we can talk about it.
I mean,
I'll
honestly,
have it up on mine.
honestly, I'm done talking about that game.
Oh shit! The whole series of the game.
The whole series, that series, like it was
All right.
it was a wash,
That
bro.
series is a wash.
No. Let me describe this series. Like I'll describe it in like 2 minutes or give me 10 seconds.
Go for it.
All right, this is literally Lehen's gap. His shot calling is fucking gapped. His skills gapped. I have more hands than him, and I like on a date because one hand is holding my girlfriend's hand, the other hand I can play League better than Lehen.
Why you gotta flex on us right now?
Holy, yeah.
He's trying to flex and he has a
Well,
girlfriend.
Man, no.
All right. All right. Let's talk about the game, the important game here, guys. The
Ooh,
the game
baby.
the game of the week.
Honestly,
it was actually not a bad series. It was pretty good actually. Game 4 was actually the most exciting.
Okay, I will give you that. So Gen G versus HLE. Now, I want to just start this off by saying what was everyone's predictions again? Because I know we had predictions for this game.
So I predict Genji
go ahead.
3-2.
I predicted Gen G 3-1 against HLE.
No, you had it the other way around. You had HLE 3-1.
Yeah, no, because
Did I?
I
Yeah,
predicted.
you
Oh
agreed.
yeah, no,
You
yeah.
agreed
I
with
made,
You
him.
agree with my
I made
prediction?
Yeah,
when I
you
watched.
agreed with
Yeah,
him.
you're right. I
My
remember now.
prediction
You did
was
say it was
HLE
LCK
3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, HLE 3-1 was my prediction, and I'm gonna be for real. Uh, I feel like this game actually could have been a 3-1 or even like a 3-0.
It
Yeah, should have been a 3.
realistically should have been 3-0.
No,
Realistically,
it should have been
but
a 3-1. That game 2, they weren't winning
But
that
the
one.
game 2, they should have won. They should have won game 2. Like, they,
Gen G versus HLE. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
HLE should have won game 2. Like, they could have won game 2.
They could have won, but they didn't.
It just
They no, the
It's
problem
it's
was HLE
game
actually gave up too much pressure on the map.
game 2 is like game 5 to me, where like Gen G could have won game 5, but they fucked up the early game so much that they just lost. Like they just couldn't come back from that.
All right, so let's start with game 1 draft. As much as I can get into it. So, in game 1 draft started with Genji was on blue side, HLE was on red side. Mel was first banned, followed by Skarner, then Jace, then Callista, then Poppy, and then Galio. After that, Genji will first pick Keen Sante.
Yep. B1 Kasante and then R1, R2 Yone and Vi.
And
So I do agree that the Yone
Wait, are you
is
talking about game 1?
yeah, we're on game 1.
game one.
Oh yeah.
I do think that Yone is a good answer to Kasante.
Really?
It's just
Yeah, but you don't
Kasante
play
himself
them.
is
That's fair.
how do I explain this? Yone will lose, I think, early on against.
Yeah.
Actually, excuse me, it's the other way around.
No.
Kasante should be winning early on.
Yeah.
Until Yone gets his first item. That's when Yone starts fighting back because Kasante is already naturally tanky, right?
Yep.
Yone is gonna have a hard time poking him when Kasante just eats everything he has. At least in short trades, I would say. In extended fights, Yone will have an edge just because if he goes lethal temple. And Kasante goes like what's grasp? It's hard for Kasante to do extended trades with grasp. But realistically, it's always going to be short trades. Because Yone is probably just going to try to proc his E onto Kasante and just farm rather, right?
Yeah. That's what I would do. Kasante's actually, like, I feel like people underestimate early Kasante damage. Like, it's it's a lot. And especially his, like, level 6, like, all out, his W, people forget, does true damage. So if you get hit by that, you're just gonna get chunked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say R2 Vi. I mean R2 Sejuani into B2 Vi. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, so they first picked Cassante?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was-
So
They,
Genji
okay,
first picked Kasante, and then
hey,
Hanwha Life
Yon
answered
and
with Yone and Sejuani. Yes.
Sejuani,
followed. And then after that, they pick Vi Aurora.
Vi Aurora, yeah.
Pretty strong
Vi
champs.
Aurora.
I
So
everything is solid. Everything is super solid.
Yeah. And then they will like round out the actually round out the draft picking Kaisa,
I said, yeah.
which is also like one of the like I think top prio ADCs, one of the few top prio ADCs right now when Kalista's banned. Kaisa can just carry games.
I think the problem, I honestly wouldn't like Kaisa here, simply because if you don't pick around Kaisa properly, then it's so easy for Kaisa just to get picked off because she's so close range melee against
True.
like two champions that just point click CC, right? But I do think Genji just got out hands, so I guess it was fair.
All right. Then continuing, Hama Life will ban Zaya. Makes sense. They will ban Zaya. Camille's then banned. Then Ezreal's banned, and then Ambessa's taken off. So we start off with HLE then picking Gnar for Zeus. Of course, Zeus Gnar is pretty stupid. His Gnar bar management is absolutely insane. Like the things
It's just a good matchup into Cassante too.
yeah,
It's like you can go even there.
like the
How do
things
you feel about the Corki bottom lane? I know that's normal in Fearless, but like I don't know if that was the best call here.
I don't. Corki bot lane is decent. I wouldn't say it's like S tier. I think it would be sitting around B tier, low A tier, probably.
Uh
I feel like with the like for them going Kaisa and y'all picking Corki, I'm like,
Like I would rather have a Varus against Kai'Sa here,
yep,
right?
dude, a Varus would have been a great pick here. It's not even banned.
nope.
And
They
I
picked
agree,
Corki.
but
Yeah, but
it's
the Corki
fearless, so they have to save
they have
that
to
pick for later.
save it. But like in this comp, like I think there's just the Corki didn't do it enough.
I
So I think Corki is a good pick here. It's just the way that we could talk about it as we progress through the game, but
I know
I
we
do
watched
think
this
Corki's
game,
a
but
good pick
I
here.
couldn't remember it fully.
I mean, I'm honestly just not a fan of Corki ADC. Like, I'm just not a fan of Corki in general. Like,
Well, when you got into the game, you've only seen Corki mid.
I mean, when I mean, yeah. When
Like back in the day, Corki bot lane was pretty normal.
I mean, it's back now, but like, right now, it's just
What's a
like,
weird pick for me? It's like seeing Graves top. Like for me, Graves is only a jungler, and every time I see Graves top, I was like, "What the fuck is this role swap?"
So Graves could be played top, jungle, or mid, but it's really rare for him to play outside of jungle just because people get bored of playing Graves mid or Graves top for some reason. It just doesn't make sense to me. But
but yeah,
um, yeah, Corki AD carry is should have a different build path compared to Corki mid, simply because Corki mid is more built around short trades, right? So Corki mid has a shorter lane, and he prefers to tip his opponent down like slowly rather than just farming, I would say, because it is a lot riskier playing Corki mid simply because the lane's shorter and it's a lot easier to gank him. While on bot lane, you should be more focused on scaling up to late game, right? Corki mid will have like Trinity Force, Mirror Mana, stuff like that to help him with short trades. But I do think that AD carry Corki should be focused on crit, just because his passive is insane with crit damage right now.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Like,
it does.
like,
Like, you do more true damage. That stuff is
and
dread.
like if you look at HLE's draft, they have like 3 meat bags essentially.
Yeah.
Like it's just so easy for crit Corki to just melt them. But I don't know. Ruler decided to go with a mid game build, and it's just hard to play against meatbags just diving on top of you and taking 0 damage. Well,
Honestly, that's happened.
Yeah, it was just always be bags. Yeah, that's fair.
Like you at some point, it was just like, yeah, you just can't shred through them all.
And that's probably why he picked the Corki instead of the Varus too. It's probably because he's like, oh,
It's
they're probably going in on them.
As long as he,
another thing
as,
is that Gen G's draft is focused on going in, but they have essentially like 2, 3 late game champions in Cassante, in Aurora, and in Porky. I mean, Corky can be flexed. Like
in
he
my
can be pretty
opinion,
good.
late game Corky is not the same. But now nowadays, not the same. Old late game Corky.
So late game Corky's build will have a good bit of range if once he finishes RFC. But I can see what you mean. It is hard to play Corky late game.
Also, one of their, in my opinion, one of their main problems in game one, honestly, they just couldn't kill Viper.
He could not kill
There were
Viper,
so
yeah.
Yeah, it
many
was-
times in game one where Viper is literally just in their face, low HP, but they could not, either not get to him, or he is just hands dipping
Yeah.
everybody.
It was hard getting on top of Vipers simply because the light was so good at just peeling. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Pina was also really good at staying back. Because a lot of times when you see Sejuani, you'd always think of engage, engage, engage. But half the game, Pina was always hovering around Zeus and hovering around Viper. Like he would save his ulti most of the time to just peel, right? There's sometimes he would ulti in for engage, but for the majority of the game, he would basically be like a personal meat bag for Viper. When someone jumped on Viper, Pina was on top of him, or Delight was on top of him.
He actually had peel, which is crazy.
Like HLE actually identified their win con properly.
No, the light was actually just a day this game. I think I'm looking back. He has 16 assists, 0 deaths. I was like, oh,
That's what I'm
nice.
saying. Like
Who has 0 deaths? Oh yeah.
The light, yeah.
Also, like general series opinion, it was a jungle gap. It was
Kenyon was kind of
Can-
AFK. Ain't gonna
Canyon
lie.
was AFK, bro. Like some of the things Canyon like did also was like costing them the game. Like in game 2, like one of my notes that I actually wrote down, which is honestly I don't know notes for game 2 because that game was stupid. It was at the 20-minute mark where Canyon tries to engage onto Zeka as Zeka, and Zeka's Galio, by the way. So he's
Yeah,
trying to engage
cool.
onto a Galio. Then Peanut comes to save Zeka. So then Canyon tries to turn it onto Peanut, and Viper comes to help. I mean, not Viper. Ruler comes to help.
Earlier.
What happens next is that Peanut will flash past Canyon, it's his E, right? E onto
Yeah, Z.
Ruler, and then immediately what you would see is Zeka Galio ulting Peanut, so forcing Ruler to flash, but then like
Yeah,
Zeka would
he
just
still dies
flash,
'cause Galio taunts.
flash taunt, and then Ruler's just dead. Then while that's going on, right? Keen was pushing bot side, Duro and Chovy were still top side. HLE was mostly like closer together, but Gen G was like split into different parts of the map. So that when Keen and Chovy were trying to TP in, because new TP is, in my opinion, stupid, it took them a while to like come in. They
I think it's
eventually
a good
came.
change,
They came
personally.
too late, and then they just got engaged on. So during that exchange, they take out Viper, which is cool, but then Chovy and Duro die. And it's funny because during game 2, Genji still had a lead at that point. They were like,
I will say that Canyon 100% baited Ruler in, but at the same time, Canyon should just be aware of where his side lanes are, right? He gets a pick, good, great. Look at the map, identify where your side lanes are, and identify where the vision is, right? He kills Viper, but proceeds to just continue like like gas all the way down on the car, right? Just go in. Let me just stay on top of these guys with 0 help, and he was like, "Guys, we can kill him. We can kill him." Problem is, you have a Varus. It is it, Varus is one of those 80 carries where he requires someone
He needs space.
to make space, essentially.
Yeah.
If they get on top of him, it's hard for him to do anything.
Yeah.
And at that point, Canyon already used his ulti. He already used his one peeling ability. So Peanut realizes this and just flashes in, or like just ease in, right?
Flashy easy.
Yeah, it's a whole mess, man. Canyon, I agree. I understand that Canyon wanted to get a bigger lead, but he should, him being a professional player at this level, should recognize that, hey, this is a good enough advantage. My laners are pushing. We have bot prio. We should just rotate down bot and get this free turret. But I don't know.
They still had a goal lead. Like they were in the lead most of that game. Like early game, they were in the lead. They were out laning. Just like these small things, just to me, was just like, yo, Canyon, what are you doing? You're better than this. I've seen you on DK playing Lee Sin making plays. Now it just looks like you're running it. But yeah.
I don't
Another time,
understand either.
like one of their other like big things that I saw, I'm like, I don't know how they came back from this was, so it was Keenan Canyon trying to gain like vision around Baron, and then who did they run? Let me find it. They ran into Peanut and Delight, and they still like, I don't know if they were already trying to retreat, but they're still like going for it, but they just get collapsed on by like the rest of HLE. Meanwhile, their two main sources of damage, which is Ruler and Chovy, are still mid lane. Like they're around mid, while they are in topside enemy jungle right now, getting just completely destroyed. So then Canyon goes down, King goes down. So then and Baron is up. So then it's a 3v5, and they're trying like to stop Baron, but like, what are you gonna do as 3 people? That's just... They won this game, by the way.
Yeah.
They won this game. I think they won was Otacon. I think they won because of Otacon. Let me, if I remember that correctly.
I
Yeah,
would say they won because HLE tried to get rid of their Otacon buffs,
Yeah.
but they got a little too eager, I would say. They weren't strong enough to actually take a full on 5-on-5 like that.
They won because of Otacon buff. Man. Like I said, in my head, this series could have been a 3-1 or a trio. Why they had to mess up my predictions, man? Yeah. Also, this is just, in my opinion, I'm gonna be free. I don't understand like the hype around Zeka. Am I being for real? Like he's, in my opinion, he's not really like a top 3 mid laner right now in the LCK. He's kind of just there, if that makes any sense.
He's not a superstar, but he is really solid.
Like to me, it's like how people like talk about Guma, and they're like, he won't make the plays, but he'll always be like, he'll have those right place, right time moments. In my opinion, I feel like way more of a carry, but that's just me. But like, I don't see Zeka as him. Like game 3, was it? I think that where was Zeka Galio?
Zeka was game 2. Yeah, Zeka was playing Galio game 2.
Oh, it was game 2.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm stupid. Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah. I'll be honest. When I saw Zeka pick Galio, I'm like, Galio or Zeka? Because if you think Faker Galio, enemy team is like, oh no. If you see Chovy Galio, you're like, oh no. Knight Galio, oh no. But then it's like you see Zeka Galio, and you're like, oh okay. Then Galio.
Zeka's more known for his control mages, that's why. But
my thing
is a really strong pick.
It's not even control mages. It's a playmaker mages actually. My biggest thing with Zeka is that he's just stable, right? Because like, if he can transition to more of a low resource player, because his entire team takes a whole bunch of resources. So. Like he has the skills to transition to that, so that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest learning curve for him right now.
Yeah, like one of the things I thought going into the season was how was HLE gonna deal with how was Peanut specifically gonna deal with Zeus, Zeka, and Viper, because all three of them are high resource players, especially Zeus. Fun fact, I think he still has the most isolated deaths of top laners right now.
Yeah, Zeus.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
Zeus will just. He has he has one of the most, if not the most, isolated
That's
deaths of
funny.
top laners.
No, it does happen a lot of times.
Like
It's so funny because it's the same scenarios that he just brings on a lot of pressure, but sometimes you're like, why are you dying?
you rat.
Yo, we're talking about game 2. I absolutely fucking hate Genji's draft and they won. And the only reason why they won is because just Zeus got solo killed by Ornn.
And then they got
Yeah.
HLE was just trying HLE was just trying to get rid of the Autocon buff, but they turned it on them. So that's why they lost that game.
My biggest problem, the biggest problem though, is just kind of like in game 1, you just had these giant meatballs just diving your backline, and you have no peel. Braum was your only peel, and then the Rumble was useless, and it's Galio. Yeah, it became a thing of where I didn't like Genji's draft, but HLE's draft was worse.
I will say this. Genji's draft is actually worse than HLE's draft. It's just the fact that HLE wasn't able to play the draft correctly. They had essentially a strong 1-2 combo in Galio Taunt and Rumble ulti. But for some reason they always messed it up. So that last fight, for example.
I understand. I understand that. That's a good combo. But the comp, their comp, the whole general of their comp, I understand. I think the Xin Zhao didn't look as bad as I thought. But it's this hey, I want to play up in the front with a whole bunch of poke people with a whole bunch of peel. It's man, I just didn't like it, especially if your combo is relying on Rumble. If they build a little bit of MR, you're just you're not doing that much damage. And unfortunately, they got behind and they did that, and they just couldn't do any damage. Legitimately, they almost died to an Ornn 2v4. They almost died to Ornn Rel 2v4.
So at the very last fight, HLE was actually ahead in gold.
Yep,
that's funny.
They were.
The problem was they misplayed that entire fight. They had their main damage dealer wasn't near them at all, and the Braum was.
I think it's straight up. It was just Viper. Viper was the main damage.
Yes, and he was not there.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do when you're a bunch of meatbags out of?
No, I predicted Hanwha to win this game too, because I just like their draft better.
It's Hanwha's Braum is actually so good into Genji with
the
melees.
Braum was a great pick. But
it's just the fact
I didn't like the Xin Zhao. That's just me. I just didn't. I really.
The Xin Zhao was also really good.
It was
against
4
okay. Melees.
It was okay.
HLE, their draft should always win against Genji's draft. I feel.
I would generally agree, unless you get solo killed twice.
Yeah, it's Zeus kind of.
The game is snowball. They just got hands. They got out hands.
Yeah, that's literally what the game 2 was all it was.
All right.
Actually, not even out hands. You got out macroed.
Yeah, they got out macroed.
The decision making was just so bad from HLE's side.
Well, okay, they got out macroed, and then Zeus got out hands by Keen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Zeus.
I think he was sleeping. I think he was just sleeping on Rumble. But yeah, that's it for that game. Yeah.
Actually, so I don't want this to be too long. So I'm gonna just gloss over 3 and 4 right quick, and then we'll talk about 5.
Well, no, 4 was a good one. 4 was actually a good back and forth. It felt like you were watching a good game. The other ones just felt something was
So-
wrong.
I will. Okay, so game 3. Well, no, this is game. Actually,
Mhm.
back to game. Game 3 was just was the Peanut Viper show. I will say that. That's basically what it was. Game 4 was ruler carry, essentially. Also,
No, game 4 was, oh my god. Game 4 was like
I saw
both teams actively trying to throw.
no. So this is what
Yeah, game 4 is.
this is what
They,
me for
they
this
were
is what
just
me for game
losing
4.
team fights.
Game 4 was I saw HLE pick Zyra for Peanut, and I'm like, Genji's winning this one. And like, I know Zyra's good and all, but anytime I see Zyra on the enemy team, I'm just like, well, they lost.
Fair.
Like, I saw the B1 Zyra, and I'm like, Genji is gonna win this game somehow. Not only that,
Yeah.
they had a Renekton mid.
Dude,
Yeah.
the Renekton mid. This draft was like the most confusing thing. I was like, okay, and Abyssa first pick, sure, like solid pick. And then I was just like, Zyra's a good pick, sure. Renekton, okay, I don't know how the matchup is because I never played Abyssa, but sure, Renekton, cool, solid pick.
Winning.
It's pretty high.
Then you see Karthus, and
I mean,
I'm like,
so it's
what the?
basically it's
Karthus
the
jungle.
it's the
is
match.
No,
the-
Karthus
it's the
jungle
match
is good, but
Safari.
it's
AP
yeah.
AP jungler match. But
yeah,
then
I was like, that's fine. Then the Camille gets knocked in. I was like, this is a support Camille? Like what the? Or like this is Camille top.
Camille
That's a bit.
support
Okay,
is a
that
thing.
makes sense.
Camille support is a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah. After that first series, yeah, after definitely that it was a thing. And then you go, and I was just like, wait, this Ashe was such a baller pick from Genji there.
Yep.
But then they looked at Fiora, and I was like, wait, are you trying to like just? I just didn't understand the Fiora. He just ran out of picks.
They use Fiora.
like does Zeka not play anything else? I'm just saying here, the Silas would have been amazing in this here. Just saying.
Yeah, no, that these fearless guys. At this point, there was 30 bans, like already, followed by 6 more. So they have to go into their they actually have to look through their champ pool. So
All I'm saying is, Seraphine mid.
That
Like
better than the
HLE
fucking Renekton mid, dude.
honestly,
Renekton falls off
HLE
so
just
hard.
picks- Okay. I'm sounding like another streamer, but I don't know. Maybe I am obsessed with enchanters, but again, literally in any enchanter, just counters Karthus.
I will say that Enchanter plus Zyra, it would be a miserable mid lane to play.
Like it's not even miserable like mid lane. It's miserable team fights.
Yeah, fair.
No
But, I
one
mean,
dies and Zyra gets free damage off.
Nah, but you can't lane
As who?
as an
Like-
Enchanter mid. You cannot lane, bro.
You literally no. You could definitely lane.
I don't
I don't
think
think you
so.
understand. I don't think you understand base damage on like these enchanted supports. You play Karma mid, you play Seraphine mid, you press 2 buttons, the entire wave's cleared.
No, I honestly think like don't get me wrong, I'm also in the Enchanter. Like you should have an Enchanter, but I think Enchanter would have been better here.
I think enchanters are amazing against Genji's team. Like what do you do if no one's dying?
Just kill him.
You can't. You can't. They have a disengage, like strong disengage and strong like, shielding and healing. Like
Nah, the man doesn't believe.
I don't believe, because what's Camille gonna do? Jump on you? She's gonna die as soon as she jumps on you.
Nah, you need to
What's
believe.
Bessa gonna
believe,
do?
believe.
Oh my god.
all right.
Anyway.
So game 5 was
I don't know how I feel about the draft. I'll be
it
honest.
was doomed from the start. I'm like, bruh,
You think it was due for Genji from the start?
yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be for real. I'm not a kid. I'm like, first of all, the poppy pick was nice from HLE, but but the Kennen,
No,
really,
I actually like the Kennen pick because it was a
bro?
counter. It's
Have
just
you
a straight up
seen?
counter for Aatrox.
Uh,
So the cannon pick is actually really good. It's just
all right, let me go.
it's so hard for the cannon to actually engage
Let me
on
actually
top of like these
let's go
three
through the pick
ranged.
order right quick, like the order.
Okay, okay.
So it was the bands, Skarner, then Lee Sin, Callista, Nautilus, Caitlyn, and Nocturne. So HLE will first pick Nidalee, so Canyon Denial. So then that follows with was Silas Pantheon pick. Pantheon.
I
I think Pantheon like being like second pick wild.
Yeah, no.
I think Pantheon blind is kind of troll as well, but
It's
I also
so
think
troll.
Silas pick and Pantheon pick blind is insane.
They didn't know what
I
ults they
agree.
had yet. Then follow that, it was Poppy Zeri. You see Poppy, and I'm like, well, two of their champs are useless now. The two champs they picked are useless now.
Yeah.
Silas, Pantheon, like, what y'all gonna do? What you gonna do to Poppy, bro? Like, and then they picked the Zeri hyper. So they picked the hyper carry. And then does Gen G pick? They pick Viego.
W.
Like, instead of why don't you pick AD here? In my opinion, pick.
AD isn't as important right now, rather than trying to. So I will say that AD carry here isn't as good as securing a good top lane, good jungle, right? But I still don't like the Viego pick,
Yeah,
even as jungle.
I'll say yeah, but you know what they picked? They picked Twitch.
That the Twitch confused the fuck out of me.
They picked
I don't
Twitch.
understand either.
Like,
I think really should have definitely played like a mage here.
honestly, at this point, yeah. But cause
But
I would have said honestly, if you saw the Zeri, I would have said play the Jinx, play the Jinx.
oh, Jinx works too.
But they banned if that's why I was like, instead of Viego, they could have picked the Jinx and at least had the hyper carry, try to then have the hyper carry matchup kind of. Honestly, because I don't understand the Twitch. I just don't. Then it was
I think it's
then
I
it
think it's
was
I think he
just
was just like, oh yeah,
depth.
let me play this new exciting AD carry. It didn't work with the team. Like
he was
my
he's
problem was the
8-2 on the
first two
pick.
picks.
He's 8-2 on the pick, so it's not new. He's played it before.
Okay, fair.
But why?
I just think Twitch is just really bad with the rest of the team comp here. Like
What is their comp? Who goes
No,
in?
I think Twitch makes sense because they're all trying to go for picks. That's
I'm
the
about to
whole
say
concept of Gen G's team.
this is not front to back. Literally looking at this is not front to back. This is you get picks and you try to win.
yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
But
I think this is one of those scenarios where on paper each champion is good, but together they just don't work.
yeah. And then
Also, can somebody why Silas first pick?
I did not understand either. But
I don't get
I look at
Nobody's-
it and Genji did such a good job of picking everything to counter just straight up counter the Silas stealing ults.
yeah.
I mean HLE. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But think about it, right? Because they Poppy ult, yeah, it's okay, right? Zerial, you're not gonna use that. Sure, Silas gonna use it. HR ult, Ario, Silas doesn't get.
Ari ult is very useful on Silas actually.
It is very useful, but it's not like a game warping. It's not like a zero shuffle ult. You know what I'm talking about?
I
get that.
definitely think Ari ulti on Silas is very good.
It's very good, but I'm saying that there's not multiple game breaking ults because once you use it once, it's on cooldown, right?
No,
So
I get it.
Yeah,
it's this thing where you cycle between okay-ish ults versus just a smolder or a Karthus ult, you know?
Yeah. I do think that Silas did have like 3 good ultis to pick from Hanwha Life though.
Yeah.
I just didn't like him being picked first.
He was picked in.
Yeah, it just no. My biggest problem is that like, obviously you're gonna get value like from the ultis, but like getting him picked first, where the best value is they pick something that has a like game breaking ult. It just I don't know. This whole thing was like I feel like Gen G just outdraft themselves. At the same time, I know it's fearless, so like there's probably not a lot of stable picks you can just blind, but like I don't know.
This game, Ruler was honestly useless. Game, like,
Yeah. I mean, the problem was that they were losing jungle mid. Like they were losing top side.
Yep.
Like, he just couldn't do anything, anyways.
Chovy, at least like if you look, even if you look at a score, he at least tried to make plays. Like, because if we're being for real, he was 3-man ganked twice in a row,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and
that's just the nature of the game.
he was set back so far.
So yeah.
So at that point,
and
it's like,
but it worked. It worked.
yeah. But like, I'm
it
saying
worked.
in his like at that point, he's like even like throughout the game, you can see he's trying to find like a way back in. He's trying to like make plays. He's trying to do something.
What's
Like,
crazy
the
was
amount
that
of
like.
cannon ults that Keen didn't get.
Mhm.
Oh, and then the like I said, Ruler was invisible this game, and Canyon was absolutely not in this game.
Yeah, he was just so out.
Like,
you know what I think it was? Like looking back at it, I think they might have been really banking on the fact that they might have been banking on like Canyon getting Nidalee because they didn't think that Peanut would pick it, and then it just they just didn't have any plan after that.
that's honestly, that's probably it. That could be it.
Like low key.
They're probably like, all right, don't worry, we got Nidalee this game, and then Peanut's like, no, pick something else.
Like legitimately look at their bans, and I'm just here like, oh, you banned Skarner, and then you banned a whole bunch of 80
I mean,
carries.
Skarner is
like...
Skarner's a red side ban.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's like a perma red side ban. Honestly.
But then like, you banned all the 80 carries. Like I think they were so confident, like that like they're just gonna get the picks I wanted, and I'm like, that didn't go as planned, did it?
I still don't know. I think Nidalee's such a bad jungle pick, but I don't know. Can't.
Canyon makes
It's
it work sometimes, or
Nidalee's good if you can play proactively, which, in all fairness, Hanwha Life did play really proactively. But
They did. They were super proactive.
it's so easy just to get Nidalee out the game. Just play a tank jungler. Like you could play Mundo for all I care, and Nidalee can be rendered useless.
Dude, Muda would have been a good pick here.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's another Pantheon, which like, oh my god, like. The biggest threat of Pantheon is that you could flex it to mid lane, but you with the Silas pick, like I guess you could flex Silas top lane Pantheon mid. No way that's happening, by the way.
Pantheon can be flexed, actually, currently right now. Pantheon can be flexed into every role except AD carry.
Sure.
No, you can be flexing to 80 carry. You just have to pick Senna.
True! But yeah.
Sure.
Alright.
Another problem I have is I feel like I see the same picks over and over and over.
I mean, yeah.
It's fearless, and there's still like a tier list of picks that most pros have, and it's kind of like they will just go through that same list. And
I will say this right now: I don't even think it's about tiers. I think it's about just comfort champions.
No, it's mostly
whether
comfort.
it be dog champions or just good champions. If it's comfort pick, they'll pick it.
But like my thing is that like you're you say that, but like we've seen 10 different AD carries. Like
I mean,
because they banned every
80 carry pool. 80 carry pool is not that big, man.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying that you see the same champs. Okay, like sorry, Riot, they just balance the game between the same fucking 30 champs.
Another problem I have is
you want to see what Vel'Koz is. I mean, like sure.
No, I don't want to see. I don't want to see Vel'Koz. I'm just saying that, like the Aatrox pick, for example. Aatrox is such a dog champion. Renekton is such a dog champion. It's just these guys have so much comfort on them, and they play them so often that they're like, yeah, we'll just pick it.
Yeah. All right.
I actually don't know if Renekton is dog right now. I legitimately don't know.
in a weird spot. I will say that as I play top lane. I play solo. I play like solo
I
queue
definitely
on
think
occasion.
Aatrox is definitely not the pick.
Like maybe I don't see something, but I
But
all these
what would they
Renekton's I
play instead?
see.
Right. So instead of saying like you don't like this, what would be the like to counter counter to that? You want to play them to play a lane bully?
No, like you don't even have to play a lane bully. Like so on the HLE side, instead of picking like Aatrox, you could pick like
Gragas.
yeah, like Gragas for
Yeah, I guess
example.
it's not bad. Yeah,
You could pick Scion. You
Honestly,
could pick
yeah,
I don't know, actually would have been a really
Sion would
great
have been a
answer.
good.
Yeah.
It's also good. It's a good pick
Yeah.
here.
like that's what I'm saying. Like these guys just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, it's Zeus. He only plays 3 champions.
Zeus. Okay, I will say this too. Zeus requires too much resources. He
does.
plays too many carry champions.
Yeah.
He
Like
needs
Aatrox,
to
the reason why you
learn to
probably
pick
pick
a.
Aatrox is because it's probably like a carry-ish character
No,
without
Aatrox
needing
is
the
definitely a
resources.
carry character.
Like,
I will say this. Aatrox on behind is probably one
It's
of the
so
worst
bad.
champions to play. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's really
So if
bad.
Zeus gets behind, it's actually game over.
Wait,
But the
Aatrox is
problem
actually
was
really good in the game right now. What the fuck are you talking about?
Aatrox is good in solo queue.
Yeah.
Not even good in solo queue. The only reason why he's good in solo queue is because people don't know how to play against him.
facts.
That's
It
really?
is. Yes.
Yes.
It is. In my opinion, it's not that hard to play against an Aatrox in solo queue.
It's the same thing as Gnar.
It's
Like-
It's pretty easy to play against an Aatrox.
in
He
lane,
has a
like dude,
giant
in
hitbox.
lane, it's easy. But for some reason, once the Aatrox gets out of top lane and goes anywhere else, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Aatrox. What do we do?" And I'm like, "Kite him out." Like,
So the problem with
Wait, you know what's
players
crazy?
right now.
On Masters up.
he's
Aatrox is number 4 for top lane
I
in
know.
OPTG.
I know. In what region?
Speak. Okay.
This is
So-
global.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hey, he's number 5 in
Masters-
Korea, so like
Masters below, Aatrox is a lane bully, and in solo queue, if you win lane, chances are you FF, like the other team FF.
sure,
They
that's
will
fair.
FF.
But he also probably has good matchups against some of the top picks. Like he's safe at the very least. Also,
It's
you were just sitting on Renekton. Renekton's number 6 in Korea.
yes, because everyone
He's number
like,
5 in Korea in that challenger.
Renekton as a bully, lane bully. Lane bullies wins games in solo queues just because people don't want to take the effort to grind up the game.
Sure, but it's also
Like-
while he is a lane bully, not all lane bullies are like just gonna dominate unless they have some semblance of being good.
Let me say this: who wins versus Renekton and Darius? Darius. Who wins versus Aatrox versus Darius? Darius. But they don't pick Darius because it's not in their champ pool. It's not their comfort pick.
don't-
Like so
Darius can outplay an Aatrox, but like an Aatrox can win that matchup.
Yeah, but I'm be for real. Darius is most likely winning that matchup. Like in a
Really?
1v1,
okay, so
Darius
my
can
fault. I
win that-
picked an early
that
game
matchup.
monster versus these lane bullies. My fault. Let me pick someone else. If a Mundo gets out of lane versus a Renekton versus an Aatrox, who wins? Mundo, obviously. But people don't play Mundo.
Who goes where he pleases.
Who wins versus Aatrox? Trundle. Trundle wins. What's Aatrox gonna do? Half his AD is stolen. Trundle out-sustains him.
Yeah.
Trundle versus Renekton. Renekton jumps on you. Oh, okay, cool. Let me just sustain all my HP back and fight you again.
Let me just auto attack
Like-
you to death.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, people just don't play these champions. It's just all comfort picks. The only reason why Aatrox and Renekton is so good in solo queue is because players don't understand their kit and they underestimate their damage. Like Renekton, people for some reason think that when they could just randomly fight a Renekton. I've seen it so many times. Even in organized play, in T3 play, I've seen a Renekton just like I've seen my mid lane and top lane just challenge a Renekton for no reason and saying, "Oh, we could kill him. We could kill him." Bro,
I'd win.
He's level 6 with 1 item completed.
Oh,
He is still
Yeah,
a
no.
monster. He is Yes, he had ult. He is still a
Yeah.
monster. Just sit back and
our
relax.
spikes.
He's gonna fall off.
I
But
would
no,
say Renekton at least is a CC bot versus Aatrox, who kind of doesn't do much. Like if you get behind, like, he doesn't do much at all.
Okay, so
I do agree that Renekton does
yo,
provide more
let's.
utility. I will agree with that.
All right, let's.
Anyways, we're going out of time.
We're
Yeah.
we're
Like,
going way we're
Well,
way over my
even
estimated
that,
time
like
right
a
now.
Trundle versus Mudo, it's probably pretty useless for the rest of the team unless you play around it.
All right, so like I said, we're over my estimated time at least, but you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. It's what it is. We get heated. We get into discussions. It's a fun time. So, all in all, HLE won, which is kind of like it was my prediction. It was expected in my head. So that means Gen G moves to the lower bracket. So we're gonna end with some predictions. So
Gen
on
G 3-0.
shut up and wait for me to finish talking.
Okay.
God, this man has no patience. This oppressed Pikachu has no patience.
Nope.
So, on Wednesday, we will be having D plus Kia versus Hanwha Life Esports. Victor, what are your predictions?
That one should win 3-0.
All right, Jimmy, what's your
What's the
predictions?
game?
It's Hanwha Life versus D plus Kia.
Hanwha plus D plus
It's just DK, yeah.
DK. Ooh, ooh.
DK should win 3-0. HLE throws the game too often. DK's pretty solid.
I'm gonna go HLE 3-1. I think my
Really?
biggest problem is that Barrel throws, and like HLE can capitalize on that harder than HLE throws.
Dude, I don't think we watched the same series. Gen G versus HLE. Do you not see the back and forth that's happening?
It was
Like
it was back and
HLE
forth.
actually tried to throw the game so hard.
Yeah,
Like,
they did try to jump the games really hard,
they
but
tried to throw the game.
Gen G is good enough to capitalize. You're telling me fucking Barrel just walks into the enemy team first 30 seconds of the game. HLE is not gonna capitalize that. You're telling me that Kingan's gonna cap Zeus?
I'm telling you that DK is more cohesive than Hanwha.
But King is not in DK. Kingan is in Nongshim. Their top laner is
Oh, I got
Siwoo.
that mixed up.
Their top
Oh,
laner is
Jiwoo,
Siwoo,
the
and
Riddler.
Siwoo
Okay.
did pretty decently into Zeus.
He did decent. He did decent.
But yeah,
And
so
that's all you need to do against Zeus. Just stay even.
I'll say my prediction is 3-1 D plus Kia.
Wow, really? Okay, that's fair.
Like I said, HLE has been shaky, and like their last few games have been 3-2. Like they've had to go all 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I feel like T1 should be here. If it was T1, I would probably predict T1 could probably beat them like D plus. I feel like T1's a better matchup in my opinion. But you know, each HLE was better on the day and HLE won, but
I hope you also
current
know this is LCK, by the way. This is like DK gets a huge buff in Korea for some reason.
So yeah. And then next we have on Thursday gonna be Gen G versus Nongshim Redford. Which is in my prediction, 3-1 Gen G.
Nah, as long as my hand exists, 3-0.
They took a game
If
off.
they bench the hands,
They're not
I'll
gonna
give it
bench
to
Lens. They're not gonna bench
3-2.
Lens. But they did take a game off of D plus Kia, which in my opinion is like the strongest team right now. So I'm like, they can take a game off Gen G. They're not gonna win. They're gonna take a game, but that's about it.
I will say Gen G 3-1 simply because Gen G might troll a game.
They're drafts. Oh my god.
Like if they actually draft properly and play their team comp properly, I think Gen G's taking the game.
See,
3-0.
my thing is that they're gonna troll the draft, right?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think 3-1.
But fucking Lehen's shot calling will throw so hard that it doesn't matter. They got lucky game 4. They got lucky game 4 where Lehen's, I think, just turned off his brain and his teammates were able to outhand. But I don't think that's happening. I don't think Genji's gonna allow Lehen's to fucking run them like that. So I'm gonna predict 3-0.
All right. Well, that was a fun discussion. Someone clearly doesn't like Lehens as a player, so.
Yeah.
Dude, after what he did that last set,
All right.
after what he did at World.
All right, Victor, you got the outro for us?
All right. Thank you guys for watching us. We're the ragtag team of low elo players. Are 2 low elo players and 1 X player. Tune in for the next video where we talk about what? Well, we go over
LTA.
Gen G versus
Next video is LTA.
Oh, the next video is LTA. My fault.
We go over the
Oh,
Next
I
video
have
is when we
so
should
much
talk
to
the
say about
entirety of
LTA.
America.
Because
Because LCS, LTA, as a region, I have so many complaints.
Oh yeah, same.
all right. Well, this has been Ordem Esports, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.
Later.